It's a well-known fact that there's always a reality show fit for everyone. Tough, even if this genre of TV is often only a source of mindless but entertaining drama. Some shows have the ability to touch people's sensitivities by delving into certain topics not everyone wants to talk about. That's apparently what Return to Amish creators were trying to achieve with it. Ever since its 2014 premiere, the show's focused on the lives of several Anabaptist people and their efforts to readapt to their old communities after having previously abandoned them, while touching subjects related to religion, self-awareness, social and family isolation, depression, and addiction. However, while these topics and the struggles that its cast have to face are part of the show's charm, the obvious curiosity that the audience naturally feels at seeing a social environment that otherwise they would never get to experience is what has really kept them entertained for years. So, what are the secrets behind the show's cast? What are their less-known personal dramas? Is it fake or are they totally genuine? Keep with us to discover the unknown truth about Return to Amish. In case you have just recently started watching Return to Amish, you probably don't know the whole story. For starters, the show is a follow-up series of Breaking Amish, a series which first aired in 2012, and followed the cast's journey after leaving their respective Amish and Mennonite communities to find a new life in the big city, even in the face of uncertainty and their possible ostracization. Although the show only ran for 4 seasons, it became one of the most successful of TLC's productions, with over 3 million viewers during its premiere. Each season was released under different titles and was based in various cities, including New York, Miami, and Los Angeles. While Return to Amish was just as successful as its original series, the truth is that TLC considered canceling it following the 4th season's finale in 2017. Rumors of its possible end were so strong back then that several media outlets reported it as the last season, and considering the networks kept mostly quiet about it, the audience was led to believe that the reports were true. While promoting the show's apparent culmination could have an ulterior motive that might have positively affected the ratings, the season was certainly the shortest aired so far, with only 6 episodes. The season's finale had a certain conclusive tone, and some of its cast were either showcased having a seemingly happy ending or facing difficult situations that didn't look promising. Anyway, either TLC backed away from the cancellation plans, the rumors were just baseless, or it was a promotional stunt, because the show ended up being renewed. If you've been following Return to Amish since its earliest seasons, it's probable you know that back in 2011, Chapel Peace was diagnosed with bone cancer, an illness she battled with until she was declared cancer-free in late 2012. Nonetheless, her happiness was short-lived, as Chapel was notified in a series episode aired in June 2014 that her cancer was back. Not long after the unfortunate news came to light, the most observant viewers started distrusting the diagnosis. As it happens, in September 2013, Chapel had announced the return of her cancer through her social media, even setting a fundraising campaign to help cover her medical costs related to it. This was apparently contradictory to the events seen in Return to Amish, which showed that she wasn't diagnosed until early 2014. The situation didn't improve when, during a Twitter rant, Chapel's co-star, Kate Stoltz, accused her of faking her diagnosis. In Kate's words, Chapel was in remission when the show was filmed, but apparently led her cast members to believe she was very sick, even affirming that it had been a stunt to cover an addiction problem. Later on, Return to Amish star Sabrina High publicly denied the accusations against Chapel, alleging that putting under question such a serious matter had been out of place. However, the matter didn't leave people's subconscious for some time. Despite its name, the reality TV genre isn't necessarily the most sincere, though this applies to small details in the show, and to obviously scripted dialogue that people just believe for their own entertainment's sake. It's a completely different matter when a show's main concept and premise is considered fraudulent. For Return to Amish, the speculations regarding the seemingly fake background of its cast members aren't a novelty. In fact, going back to when Breaking Amish was still airing, the community's popular web blogger, ex-Amish atheist, affirmed that Jeremiah Raber's background story was false. As a highly commented post on the blog showed, Jeremiah hadn't only apparently been married prior to his TV debut, but hadn't been part of the Amish community for almost 10 years, contrary to a story portrayed in the show. As well, the blogger affirmed that the cast members were too fluent in English for people who apparently had just left their Amish community, besides pointing out details in their physical appearance, such as plucked eyebrows and pierced earlobes, which aren't allowed in their religion. Even if these allegations don't negate the Amish roots of Return to Amish's cast members, it definitely puts the series' authenticity into a different perspective. No one denies that seeing someone with particular experiences similar to ours on TV is normally endearing. Moreover, portraying the experiences of members of a religious community on TV isn't something to be taken lightly, as not being extremely careful while delivering the right message could backfire in a big way. While it couldn't be said that Return to Amish received a massive rebuff from the general audience, the show's franchise wasn't seen with approving eyes by those who have been estranged in some way or another from the Amish community. Initially, the backlash from the latter's group consisted in negative reviews that pointed out the cast's vague or simply inaccurate representation of the Amish people. Conversely, as the show gained popularity, their decoys took more force. Soon, hordes of ex-Amish people teamed up to complain against TLC for the alleged misrepresentation of their traditions and religion. While their demands weren't heard, literally, they managed to take down the show's official Facebook page. Later on, a Facebook group entitled Breaking Amish the True was created for ex-Amish people to debunk the show and share accurate information about their culture. Nowadays, the group still exists, and while it's been inactive for years, the fact that it still has over 40,000 members makes it apparent that the ex-Amish people's demands weren't ignored. Admittedly, depicting many dramatic incidents is a very usual occurrence for Return to Amish cast members. Out of all his fellow co-stars, Jeremiah Raber has rightfully won the top place as the one with the most scandalous life, though. It's not just that the audience has enough reasons to believe his supposed exit from the Amish community happened at least a decade before the show aired, but a whole lot more. Apparently, Jeremiah married for the first time in 2005, but the legal union ended in 2011, when his now former wife filed for divorce. His ex-wife, who goes by the name Naomi Stutzman and who gave birth to his children, had a restraining order out against him following the separation. As court documents state, Naomi accused him of extreme cruelty and neglect of duties, which means that not only had he been aggressive towards her, but that he owed her $20,000 in child support as well. He was arrested and later released through a bond. As it happens, Jeremiah's story only gets worse. Reportedly, TLC attempted to erase his dirty past, and while these accusations have been vehemently denied by the network, in 2017, Jeremiah was arrested for the second time for assaulting Carmela, his second wife. It's not only Jeremiah Raber who has kept secrets away from the public knowledge. Actually, other cast members were reportedly married before the show aired, and although they tried to keep such information hidden, it eventually came out. Let's start with Rebecca Byler, whose lack of sincerity regarding a relationship with Abe Schmucker pushed people into discovering that she was hiding a lot more. As many remember, she and Abe became a couple during the course of Breaking Amish, and appeared together in Return to Amish until they left in 2018. However, it was reported that the pair was already a couple long before the show aired, contrary to what was promoted. Even more surprising is the fact that prior to her TV debut, Rebecca had a daughter whose father was believed to be Rufus Hofstadler, her first husband. However, Rebecca posted a paternity test that confirmed Abe was the father. On her part, apparently Sabrina High was married as well. Following several pics and documents posted by Facebook users on the group Breaking Amish The Expose, in 2009, she married a man named Delmar Burkholder. More impressively, it was discovered that Sabrina's TV debut was in the show Amish at the Altar. Unfortunately, Sabrina High's long-time addiction to drugs has led her to low points in her life several times. Losing the custody of her first two daughters, Oakley and Ariana, is a good example of that. Although Sabrina hasn't lost contact with them and is still allowed to keep seeing her children as long as she's clean, being able to be their legal tutor is obviously hard to endure. In early 2017, Sabrina was arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia. Her sentence consisted of a fine and community service, but in August that year, she was arrested again for violation of parole. While her encounter with the law didn't mean the loss of her contract with TLC, Sabrina has publicly admitted that she needs to report her every move and legal situation to the network. As it goes, in June 2018, Sabrina faced one of the hardest times in her life when she almost died from a heroin overdose. As recalled on a Facebook post, she had been clean from drugs for over a year, but after consuming a capful of said drug during a trip to Pennsylvania with her boyfriend Jethro Nolt, she started feeling weird and lost consciousness. At some point, her heart stopped beating, but she was revived through CPR, although the experience was hard to forget. It's commonplace for a Return to Amish cast to be known for their less than pleasant personal experiences. Kate Stoltz is admittedly the exception to this rule. More often than not, people remember her for her personal accomplishments, such as being accepted into a prestigious design school or having appeared in a famous magazine. This is normal though, as her career accomplishments are a nice change from all the less than pleasant experiences of her fellow cast members. However, Kate isn't necessarily the most well-liked individual in the series, as there are always people who have negative things to say about her. Besides feuding with Sabrina High and Chapel Peace over the latter's alleged false cancer story, Kate has publicly shown her nonconformity with the approach Return to Amish has on her personal and professional life. Why would the audience dislike her, though? While she's gained the admiration of many, others never forget Kate was once arrested for driving under the influence, although prior to appearing in the show. While that wouldn't be a big deal for other TV stars, this show's detractors consider it part of a big set of lies which the show has perpetuated, on the way to depicting the ex-Amish people inaccurately. Everyone has the right to choose to believe or not what they see on TV. However, in Return to Amish, there are too many hints, pics, and misinformation that undoubtedly prove that the show isn't completely sincere with the audience. That's why no one found it unbelievable when, in 2015, Jeremiah Raber openly admitted that the show was staged. In his words, every scene is planned beforehand, as permits and contracts are required to go accordingly with the cast's actions. Is this reason enough for the show's audience to be warned off? Surely it isn't, but small details like this make everything about the show worth questioning. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.